but everyone's been paid off and everyone's basically lying about the game and what we're witnessing. It's no different. The thing with Enron was going on, it was going on for years, and anybody with a brain should have been able to see, like, oh my
Before
God.
we start this video, guys, there's going to be a small 2-minute section at the end of the video kind of giving you guys a few updates, just some quick stuff. I do this from time to time, especially if you're new to the channel, if you newly subscribed. The reason why I do this is because I like to keep you guys informed. I typically don't do live streams, nor do I have really the space to do it at this moment in time. I mean, I'm sure I can sit behind my computer and do it, but still at the same time, there's going to be a couple of updates at the very end, so make sure you guys stick around for the full video, so that way you guys can get a bit of an idea of what's actually going on here. You know, guys, I came across this little truth bomb the other night from Whitlock, and I understand that's kind of a very, very weird way to start a video out, but I got to ask the question, is the NFL dying? Is it already dead? Has it been dead for a very long time, and are people starting to realize that maybe this entire thing just could be, how do I say, controlled? Or is the level of play this year just so absolutely horrible that nobody really and truly cares? Something seems up. Or, then again, though, I could just be good old-fashioned paranoid. The quarterback play has not been good this year in the NFL. And you would figure that a guy who ran a sports channel at one point in time, which is exactly what this channel was originally supposed to be, would actually do a lot more sports videos. However, I've noticed some very, very, very weird trends. Now, guys, I'm showing you something right now. This is... I'm showing you guys in the B-roll footage, then I'm going to actually play the clip for you guys. This was the other night on ESPN. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, formerly my team's quarterback, he tore his Achilles the first week of the year. Maybe I'm stupid, but why in the world is it that 5 weeks later, why is he throwing? And why is he not wearing a boot or anything? I mean, I know he said that he was going to be getting a certain type of treatment that would actually accelerate his return. But the thing is this right here. Achilles injuries, and I understand it was his left foot and not his right. Achilles injuries take a long time to heal. ACL injuries also take a while to heal as well. And I understand that Aaron's getting a lot older, especially at the age of 38. Now, I'm starting this video out because I'm trying to plant something in you guys' minds. See, a lot of people have been believing for a very long time that the NFL is, let's just say, rigged. A lot of people have done a lot of videos on it. I have even asserted that it could very, very well be like that it's actually scripted. And, of course, you've had a lot of people come out and do commercials like this here.
I think the NFL is scripted. You think I really would have played along with the script that had me losing to Peyton's little brother Eli twice in the Super Bowl?
Now, I'm not saying that it is. I want you to know right now, I'm not saying that the NFL is scripted, even though there are a lot of people out there who have made the case that it is, and a lot of people have made the case that there's a lot of evidence. And, of course, you got a lot of people out there who love to use gematria to determine the outcomes. But then again, at the same time, I've also looked into those channels and seen where a lot of them get it wrong. There was one channel, of course, that had the Packers winning the Super Bowl last year with a record of 9-8 during the regular season, and they connected it back to some other numbers. There's also times when people have typed in the numbers for a team like, say, the Baltimore Ravens when they won in 2012, and they got it actually correct. Some people like to gamble off of that, which is very, very weird that we're mentioning this because Lenny Dykstra, formerly of the Philadelphia Phillies 1993 team, a man by the name of Nails is what they used to call him. Of course, there's a lot of things on Lenny, but I follow Lenny on Twitter. Lenny's actually a pretty cool dude. Yes, my computer just came on in the background. The screen did. Lenny was bringing up a very good point about Pete Rose. He thought it was actually very weird how it was that gambling is legal now and basically in sports with DraftKings and stuff, but yet we have this this little thing, this little bit of hypocrisy, seeing how it is that Pete Rose was practically banned from baseball and the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame due to gambling. A lot of things are a little bit weird here. Now, guys, I'm going to let this right here play, and then we're going to come back on the other side. We're going to talk about the overall play of the NFL itself. And, of course, not only is that there the case, but we're also talking about the brand new business model and some few things that I've discussed before that definitely make me think that the NFL just may be going downhill and not in a way that anybody wants it to
free
go.
Fall, and no one cares, or no one is willing to talk about it. I do think people care. I do think people see it. But everyone's been paid off, and everyone's basically lying about the game and what we're witnessing. It's no different. The thing with Enron was going on, it was going on for years, and anybody with a brain should have been able to see, like, oh, my God, this whole thing is a fugazi. But they sold it anyway, and they sold Kenneth Lay, and they sold Jeffrey Skilling, and these guys made millions. And then it all collapsed, and people lost their retirement funds. People lost everything tied up. People lost their jobs, their careers. And some of these guys at Enron went to prison. The Kenneth Lay, he died before they sentenced him. He got convicted, but he died before they sentenced him. I'm telling you, one day people are going, very soon, are going to snap out of it and realize what we're looking at in the NFL. All these overhyped quarterbacks making $40 and $50 million a year that can't play a lick, can't read a defense, you can't criticize them, they don't practice, they don't have to do anything, and they're all getting ridiculously overpaid. And many of us, not you in particular, because many of you have quit watching the NFL, but eventually the sheep that are still spending all their money, still fooled into thinking they're watching something great, they're going to snap out of it. I don't know if I can see it, but I have to watch it so I can talk about it, so I can analyze it, so I can tell you what's going on in the culture. What I'm telling you is short the NFL. It's a stock that will collapse at some point.
Now, guys, really quick, back to Rodgers. Pay very, very close attention to the narrative. And I can already hear somebody saying this is just the normal stuff that they do. Yeah, but something about this just feels a little bit thicker than normal.
Absolutely. And that was a statement for him, this team, the running game, the offensive line. But you know what's interesting? Holy smokes, is that Aaron Rodgers?
That's Aaron Rodgers
out there on the
line. No boot, no crutches, throwing the football. Does that play a part at all in this group, on this defense going, he's over there? What if we just got us into a good position by the end of the season? What if?
Guys, I've been in sports my entire life, and an Achilles injury has been known to put some people on their back for good. Aaron is 38 years old. Okay, if he tore his ACL, I could see that there being a comeback. And I think he'll come back too from this right here because he said he would. But I think more realistically would be something like week 9 of next year being the 2024 season, because it would take about a year and then you're looking at being on IL or IR and then possibly the PUP list. Then you get the case of David Bakhtiari, who was just put on IR, which is very funny because David Bakhtiari, if you watch that Monday Night Football game between the Jets and the who was it they beat with the Bills week 1, then you would know that David Bakhtiari, especially if you're on X, he was one of the most vocal people about what happened. Of course, he pretty much blamed the left tackle, Dwayne Brown, for the injury. Now, this is kind of weird, in my opinion, for a multitude of reasons, but it's weird, especially given the fact that David Bakhtiari is Aaron Rodgers' former left tackle, and it looks like he's more than likely going to be released sometime next year. I don't think the Packers are going to keep him based on his injury situation. I mean, while the NFL has not been that interesting, I still do keep up with my team, and obviously I'm monitoring Jordan Love's progress, him being a first-year quarterback or first-year starter. Not first-year quarterback, first-year starter for the team. It's very odd, especially seeing how the narrative is, especially now that everybody's talking. You see, the league has become much, much more narrative-based, and one could also argue that the NBA could be as well. Mike Soroka of the Atlanta Braves, he tore his Achilles back in 2020 during the pandemic-shortened season, and he tore it on his right foot, and I understand that's his push-off foot, but Braves fans were in the comment section clamoring for him to get back on the mound the minute somebody heard a positive update for him, and of course that's not the case. With Achilles injuries, you really and truly have to be... you have to coax it. It takes a long time to recover. So you honestly expect me to believe that this guy is already ready to go? I doubt it. Now, guys, I don't really know a lot about Enron. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know a lot about Enron, but at the same time, given the fact that ESPN recently has asked the NFL and the NBA to basically buy into them to keep them afloat, given the fact that ratings are down, given the fact that in a recent video, which I'll leave in the description box, a lot of people are basically assessing the fact that the decadent veil is starting to drop off the NFL and off ESPN. One of the main things that people have been saying recently is that the United States is a lot like Rome, where we're basically in the same exact situation, and there are some parables. Of course, the bread and circuses argument has, of course, been thrown out there. It has been tossed, but of course, you see Aaron Rodgers out here with a boot off his leg, throwing a football 5 weeks after he apparently tore his Achilles tendon, And to go on top of this, he's throwing, and of course, you probably think to yourself, maybe this entire thing is scripted for him to like come back. Now, granted, if you know the NFL and you know how the PUP list works, if you know how injured reserve works, then more than likely you would know that he probably won't be back. It is very, very possible that he just had a procedure that accelerated the process of healing, so therefore he could get out of the boot and start walking around. But there's something that I've noticed recently, especially with this whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. It seems to me that the NFL is trying to mask something, and maybe they're trying to mask the poor overall play. Whitlock was talking earlier, and I'll leave the episode in the description box, about the Tennessee Titans game and how it was that Malik Willis just didn't look like he knew where the hell he was going. Lamar Jackson, who I like as a person, has not looked any different than, quite frankly, he has been before. He's still using his legs more often than anything else. And somehow or another, the Browns are getting by with P.J. Walker without Deshaun Watson. Now, that last one you could chalk up to the fact that the Browns actually have a much, much more talented team than people think. And I do find it kind of weird that the two top teams in the NFL, the 49ers and let's just say it was San Francisco and it was one other team, decided that they wanted up and just, the Eagles decided that they wanted to lose to bum teams. Kind of got me confused for a second. And by the way, that team that the Eagles lost to was the Jets, to Zach Wilson. Things are definitely afoot. And I understand that things can get a little bit strange. I understand that the game itself can be a little bit weird, but you got to wonder if there's something going on upstairs. And going back to the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing, I don't think anybody really and truly cares. It seems to me like maybe what they're trying to do is they're trying to throw a distraction out there so that way people can look at Taylor Swift, which, by the way, many people have assessed maybe the proof that the game has been feminized. I mean, I've talked about this issue on several occasions. I don't think I need to bring up any additional examples because I think I've covered them all. But there was one thing that came across the TV screen today that I thought was very weird. Shannon Sharpe, the way he looked. And, of course, some people are blaming makeup. But, of course, Shay Shay likes to look like this if you've ever watched his podcast. Of course, there's another one that somebody put up, and I immediately thought to myself, that looks like a strong, independent black lady. I just figure it's actually hilarious to talk about because it looks like anything and everything involved in the NFL has been fully feminized. The league, you can't hit one another. You can't actually run into one another anymore. If guy gets hurt, guy gets injured, you got to almost stop the game. That happened in the preseason earlier this year involving the Packers and the Patriots. Right now, quarterbacks are only averaging about maybe 3 touchdowns per game, which is something the NFL does not need to have at this moment in time. They need overall scoring. I know somebody's going to probably say that defenses are a little bit better this year, but still at the same time, they have actually rigged the league so that way quarterbacks can pad their stats, and of course, teams can actually play a much, much more offensive style. It's also been padded to a certain degree where teams are not wanting to run up the score and teams are not wanting to kill one another. Let me go ahead and throw this out here for a second. I was at a game back in 2019. Went to go see the Packers and the Cowboys game, and the person that I was with, a family member, said to me, because the Packers had a very, very big lead, if Green Bay wanted, they could finish up the game. Why are they allowing the Cowboys to go back in? And my initial response was, well, the truth be told is they're playing single high safety right now because they kind of want the game clock to kind of speed up so that way they can get more of the game over with. The reason being is that the faster the game goes along, when you have a bigger score, the quicker you can go home. But then again, though, I also realized at the exact same time that there's also TV breaks and all that type of stuff there where teams automatically get a bit of a timeout anyways. Referees will call one, and referees obviously miss calls nowadays at absolute will. Makes you think that maybe the game is, in fact, not exactly on the level, which at the exact time also makes me wonder if maybe the people in charge have done exactly what Jason Whitlock said and have been paid off. There's something about those quarterbacks. We just haven't had good quarterback this year. You're going to hear me say this more throughout the video. The thing that really bothers me is that somehow or another Matthew Stafford plays like absolute, which Stafford didn't really play like trash in Detroit. He played good considering the teams that he was dealt, but it's not like he didn't have talent, and it's not like they didn't have a chance a couple of years. Also, when you think about it, all of a sudden his career goes down, and then they trade him to L.A., and all of a sudden L.A. wins the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Joe Burrow's up for a contract coming up, and because he's been to a Super Bowl already, yet of course he wasn't able to win. But I'm not blaming him or anything like that, but yet we're looking at a $60 million contract from a franchise which, quite frankly, has not been, a strong one over the years, that right there being the Bengals. Mahomes has obviously earned his money. Dak Prescott, of course, he's not earning his cash, if you ask me. He's getting paid a lot of money to basically occupy the quarterback's position. And I can already hear Dallas Cowboy fans in the comment section talking about last night. And it's okay to do that, but let me just go ahead and say it. Dak is trash. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he's done well so far, but yet he's about to get 50 to 60 million a year. Now, I'm not complaining about quarterback salaries, but I am asking the question, why are we giving these quarterbacks so much money if they haven't got any rings? They haven't actually won you a franchise and actual championship. It just makes me wonder off the bat if the NFL is not masking something. And something else, too, I really love how it said EN, then there's like FL, because a lot of people have been thinking for a long time that it's actually NFE is like National Football Entertainment, or maybe like National Football Federation, something like that there. So you see, people believe that this is actually entertainment. Dwight Smith had a comment a while back. He had Super Bowl 54, the 55, the one between Tampa, and of course they were playing Chiefs. That was how unforgivable a Super Bowl that was. It was being played in Tampa. The NFL had to come out later on after the one in LA, and they had to say, look, we can't play the game anymore. We'll do you a favor. We won't play the game anymore in the stadium that the team is going to have a home field advantage. I mean, to me, right off the bat, it already looks sketchy as hell. It already looks fake as hell. It makes you wonder, and especially given the fact that the quarterbacks in the NFL nowadays really and truly aren't putting up the numbers outside of Mahomes that you would need them to put up, at least as far as consistency. I understand bad games, I understand bad reads, but of course, the quarterback play in the NFL this year has just been absolutely horrible. Maybe Aaron Rodgers not being there, which, by the way, Aaron Rodgers masked the Green Bay Packers' problems for a very long time, and then right towards the end, he began to have problems himself. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. Don't worry. I've created a channel to start posting to next year to talk about sports stories and certain scenarios and certain players at which things actually went wrong. And, of course, there'll be predictions and stuff like that from time to time. The fact of the matter is this right here. The NFL just seems like it just feels like it's more entertainment than anything else. And I think people are starting to get swept up into the whole bread and circuses thing, which is something that people love to make the comparison to the United States and run, which we'll talk about more this weekend. I've pushed that video back to Sunday because there's a very big one coming out on Saturday involving this whole beef between Megyn Kelly and what's her name? Candace Owens. Apparently they got into it. I can't believe I did that. And there's also another video coming out this week about the importance to get the proper amounts of information out because, of course, we're dealing with this Israeli-Gaza conflict, and you got a lot of people out there who have very, very quickly taken the side of one side in particular that, quite frankly, is, let's just say that they're using bodies and crap for optics, and, of course, we don't have the true facts, but yet these people pretend like they're actual experts, when in reality, in a military operation, they may want to keep their nose out of it. And to make matters worse, it appears like this year is going to be one of the most forgettable years in NFL history. The Saints, for example, they got Derek Carr. They haven't exactly been impressive with their offense this year, which I could have actually called because normally a quarterback coming to an offense for the first time is not going to be that effective. But after a few weeks, you figure some form of rhythm would in fact be established. I know he got injured in the Packers game, but of course he was back. You figure some things that would occur. It's almost like the NFL is not wanting to utilize other stars. It's almost like everybody just completely forgot what the playbook looked like. And to go on top of this, all the soft play. The play that, quite frankly, was geared towards creating more touchdowns, more overall points, has kind of ceased to be. So it makes you wonder if this right here is not going to be a down year. And it also makes you wonder if people are not going to figure out that this right here at the end of the day is just good old-fashioned entertainment. I mentioned a couple of Super Bowls earlier. I mentioned the one between Tampa Bay and Kansas City. That's how forgettable that Super Bowl was, being played in Tampa, or about the one that was played in L.A. between the Rams and the Bengals. Also, to go on top of that, there are also other stories. Like, for example, there's Super Bowl 30, I think it was Super Bowl 37, the one between the Raiders and the Buccaneers. Dwight Smith, I think I mentioned him earlier, he went on a broadcast and explained to everybody that he did not think that Super Bowl was legitimate because he felt that maybe the Raiders actually threw the game. He was playing for the Bucs at the time. A lot of very weird stuff. I think a lot of people are starting to figure this out. Not to mention you've got Spygate. You've got all these other things. Spygate 2.0. Now all of a sudden the Patriots completely suck. It feels like the league for the most part is narrative-based. And that right there is not a good thing going forward because you got people paying attention to the narrative more than you do the actual play on the field. But we'll do a bigger project on this at a later date. And the reason why is because, like I said a minute ago, I am going to be creating a sports channel to do sports stories, and we're going to be diving into this issue a lot further. Of course, you could also go read Brian Tuohy's book, The Fix is In and The Fix is Still In. He provides a lot of evidence in those books. I'm not here trying to promote a conspiracy theory or anything like that. I'm just simply saying saying that he's done his homework on this. And then to go on top of that, there are also a lot of YouTube channels. One of the guys that they're called Lobo. It's spelled it's spelled zero as in like zero as in like an actual literal zero, not O, then B, then O. I advise you guys to go check him out if you guys are into that. There's also a lot of other channels out there that talk about this type of stuff. But I think the NFL is about to go into a bit of a dark period here soon. And a lot of that is because, and you got to understand something else too. Let's just say that it's not fake and you do get these brand new quarterbacks coming out of college. They still got to get uptick to the system. And of course, your best quarterback as far as age quarterback concerned is out for the year. And of course, as I've already told you, there's a lot of weirdness going on there with him because somehow or another, this guy who had his Achilles replaced or had an Achilles surgery is yet walking around 5 weeks after the injury and throwing a football. With that right there being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and play the updates for you guys. This was a video that I mostly made just to ask questions to see what you guys think about the situation. Just spitballing, give you guys thoughts in the comment section. With that right there being said, let's go ahead and get to the updates. It used to be that I would take one day off during the week. I was doing that during the summer, and the reason why I did that was because where I live at, the grounds crew, they did all their work, cutting grass, weed eating, everything, cleaning, all that type of stuff, pressure washing. They did that on Tuesdays, and then they started doing it on Mondays. So there's been a bit of let's just say that there's been some strange stuff going on here. Like this morning, they were pressure washing again, and I ended up losing a couple of hours of recording time outside the schedule. And I know this right needs to be put first and foremost outside of everything else going on with the channel. But a couple of other things occurred, and I figured while I was out, I'd go ahead and knock out a couple of things. Also, to go on top of that, my original plan was to post 4 weekdays out of each week, and then hopefully 1 to 2 days on the weekend, depending. I'm going to try to be going back to that at least until we get to Christmas, because I know that when Christmas comes, things get a little bit tighter as far as video posting is concerned. And I know most of you guys are not online based upon my age demographic. I'm guessing the vast majority of you guys are married, got kids, you'll be at your Christmas shopping, and you'll probably be a little bit busier than normal, especially meeting with family. I got family too, so obviously November and December are going to be a little bit tougher as far as posting is concerned. But I will be keeping you guys updated on things to come, because there's also some other reasons why it is that I'm going to be moving the content to more video essay format that I've not given you guys reasons for. And I want to kind of do this while the platform is small, so that way you guys have all got a chance to kind of come in here and kind of find out why things are moving the way they are. Another thing too, I'm also tinkering with a name change, but I probably won't go to that anytime soon. Right now, I may use it for one of the other channels. I'm not entirely sure. So just figure I'd give you guys a bit of an update on what's going on. With that right there being said, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.